Hello, everybody. It's the 18th of March, and I've got my watch until I can keep track of the time because I can't see the digital part of this camera to know exactly how long. Checking my mic switch, make sure it's on. But if I try to look at the camera to find out how long my video is, I always go too long. And I'm going to try to keep this not too short, but short enough to where I don't just go on and on and on. Like I said, it's March 18th, 2020, and the world is still battling the bug. Some places, it's almost hard to believe what's going on. There's been a lot of conspiracy things floating around. And normally I'm not into conspiracy theories. But I'm trying to read all the news that I can find, especially from legitimate organizations. I usually read the Wall Street Journal, get a lot of my news from there. But we're living in some unusual times. And it's not really surprising to me. Because most of my life, I've always thought that things would go awry eventually. But I always put it in the context of Mother Nature. Things that we have absolutely no control over. So when I would think about dramatic things that would happen in the world, I was always thinking about natural things that we have absolutely no control over. And if you go back into history on events that have occurred because of natural occurrences, some of them are extremely catastrophic. So those are not really a surprise. You only think, this is the way I always think. Of course, I'm a believer, and I'm a believer in the creation. And I know that nature, some people call it Mother Nature, some people call it inevitable events, which it really is if you look back. Even from, if you want to go back to the extinction of the dinosaurs. Now, I'm not an authority on that, but I do know that that was a Mother Nature event. But this one that we're involved in now, let me check my time, is not so much a Mother Nature event. Some people believe that what we're experiencing was a man-made thing. There's no proof of that right now. So I'm not even going to go there because that's conspiracy stuff. For the time being, I'm going to try to think that it was one of those natural events because we've had several, and most of them came out of that part of the world that you all know. Anymore, you can do a video like this, and you can never mention a name because you don't need to mention a name. Everyone knows exactly what you're talking about, and they know the location. But what I was going to say is we've had some bad things to come out of that part of the world before. But the difference between then and now, the thing that's happening today, this is so virulent that people can be walking around exposing other people without any symptoms. And that's a scary thought. Most of the schools in my area are closed for 2 weeks, and I predict that they will not open for the rest of the year. Now, I may be wrong on that, and I don't have any information. Anything that I say is just coming from what I think, but I don't think that the schools will reopen. Most of the people are working from their home. Of course, I'm retired. My son works for, well, I'm not going to say who he works for, but anyway, he's working from home. The nature of his work, he can do his work from home on the computer. That's a good thing, because the less interaction that we have with each other, the more likely, and I go back to what Dr. Fauci said, I hope I'm pronouncing his name, Dr. Fauci. He said that if you did nothing, the spike would go up and come down eventually. But the higher the spike, the more dramatic it would be. So if we can keep the curve low, eventually it will put itself into check, hopefully. That is, if you can build up an immunity. If you get it and build up an immunity, then that's a good thing. And if they can come up with a vaccine, then they can immunize us. If you're watching this video, I sure hope you're safe. And who knows what, well, I know what the future holds if you're a believer. But how you approach that future is in His hands. And if you're a believer, that's the best thing you can have. But that doesn't mean because you believe you're supposed to be careless. That's not so. I always use the analogy when people start talking about the wheel of this and that. If you decide to jump in front of a moving train, it's going to hit you. So don't jump in front of a moving train. It's just like you need to be cautious when you're out and around, when you go to the grocery store or whatever. But I also believe in the fact that if you have enough faith, you can move a mountain. Can I move a mountain? No, because I don't have enough faith. But if you had enough faith, you could do anything, because it's written that you can. Well, let's see. How long is this? Oh, my. When you get to doing these videos, the time just slips away. So that's my video for March 18th, 2020. Be safe, folks, and we'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.